What's up guys, it's Maddie here from DCLblogger.com. In this video I wanted to cover a few different things that's been happening in the Decentraland world. Progress for sure, in different ways, in different aspects of Decentraland, and just wanted to make a video on a few different things that's happened over the last week or two, especially the Game Jam. So the Game Jam was a big competition where Decentraland gave away a bunch of prizes to people that could develop cool stuff. So the cooler things you could develop. Basically it was a competition put in place to kind of stress test the SDK, to test what can be built with their software developer kit that they've opened up for people to come in and build things in Decentraland. So there's been a bunch of different stuff made. In a different video I'm going to cover exactly, some really cool builds, some of the stuff that's been built so far. There's this really cool disco club thing that's been made. There is, there's like different mansions. There is, if you go to the Decentraland Twitter, they've been tweeting, and you can, even though you don't have beta access, you can still enter and test out these builds by going to these links. These links should let you go in without an email or anything, any access. So anyone can really go in and try it out. So there's been that. There's been a couple of different games that have been built, but basically just testing out what the kit can do, what you can build with it, etc., etc. Again, I'm going to be covering this in another video, so I didn't really want to talk too much about it, but definitely wanted to touch on the thing. So I think they've had about 100 plus submissions, which is quite cool, based on the fact that some of these are really, really big, some of them are small, but at the end of the day, they're going to be holding more and more of these competitions that should continue to get people to build on Decentraland. Building is one aspect, and obviously the people visiting and exploring Decentraland is a different thing, and that's another thing I believe Decentraland are working on. You can see this recent playtest that they had kind of got quite a lot of people checking it out. So every time they have a playtest, they'll email it out to the people, and you can join in. And they're kind of stress testing the platform. They're seeing if anything breaks. So, the bunch of people that come in and try different things, go from parcel to parcel, they'll provide feedback. They'll say, it's loading slow for them. They're floating in the air. Face is not loading properly, whatever it may be. Any bugs or issues, they keep ironing these bugs and issues out. You can see they've added a really cool map over here that shows where everyone else is around you. Each one is a parcel. Each one of these boxes is a parcel. They had this mini kind of exploration game, which if you solved, you'd end up over here, and you can claim one of these free NFT wearable masks, which I believe is exclusive and limited edition. And I don't know if you can claim them anymore, but these people, whoever play tested at that time, they could. And I think there's about a couple hundred in rotation at the moment, which is pretty cool. Again, they're experimenting with NFT wearables, because at the end of the day, Decentraland need to create an economy that gives people that develop on the platform something cool to sell and people to sell it to. And that can only be done if there's a ton of people visiting Decentraland, checking out new things. So getting the platform popular and allowing people to sell different things within Decentraland and creating that in-game economy is going to be vital for Decentraland's success, because you want it to be self-sufficient. You don't want Decentraland to be creating experiences. You want developers to be creating experiences, ideally hundreds of them, and people to be checking them out, buying different NFTs and all that kind of stuff. So a couple of other pictures from the test. You can see there's the chat feature. There's a bunch of people, I guess they're walking around doing this thing. This was, I think, in the late night for me here in Australia, so unfortunately I couldn't check it out. But again, it's pretty cool to see these numbers growing and these snapshots of, I think there's like 30 to 50 people here. I'm not too sure, but eventually there's going to be hundreds. And I know Decentraland are going to continue to host events and have these playtests, and they might even have like a Christmas party or a launch party or a clubbing event, or let's all go to the carnival or whatever it may be, for everyone to jump in and check this place out. I do know that when you're in the land, it is 10 times more fun than being in there by yourself when there's people around you. I was experimenting a few different things, and it just gets a lot more fun when you can do activities with other people Again, this is going to be so much more fun once it goes VR, that's for sure. But even now, it's a lot of fun to go in there and check out what the platform could be. A couple of other things I wanted to touch upon. Again, here are the masks that you can get. So I think there was like six or seven different masks you can claim, whatever you want, and I guess it's limited edition. So I've already offered to buy some for 1,000 mana. So I mean, if you're selling these masks for 1,000 mana, let me know. What else? The Decentraland land market. Okay, usually I dedicate a whole video for this, but I didn't want to stress myself out and just wanted to make a quick video on a few different things within Decentraland. Pretty cool to see the land market increase in the bottom, the floor, but I think in increasing the floor to something like this, it's kind of outpriced a bunch of newbies because we're not seeing the volume that we used to see. We're seeing a few sales a day, 3 to 5 sales a day, the odd estate. We might see 10, 15 sales a day. Maybe a couple of few hundred thousand mana a day sales, which is still pretty damn good, but the frequency definitely has gone down, and I think it's also got to do with the altcoin market getting pretty damn hammered. Mana sitting at about 3 cents, although recently it's been making some moves of some sort. It's gone up from, if you were to go to the daily, sorry about the noise if you're hearing my laptop kind of crap itself because it's loading a bunch of different things. You can see that this is the BTC mana chart. You can see that it got pretty smashed over the last 6 months or so, but over the last few months it's kind of increased from 300 Satoshi to almost 400 Satoshi. It's kind of trying to break out here, I think. Definitely not a trader by profession, but I understand some basic TA, and it's good to see that it's making some positive momentum, and I think it's got to do with the game jam and the fact that Decentraland land prices have kind of gone up too. And also the publicity that these builds are going to start to generate, because as people keep building things and marketing it, as we keep jumping in and everyone on Decentraland Twitter starts tweeting really cool places, cool experiences, it's going to get more popular, and I think that's what we need. We need a project running forward at a pace that lots and lots of things are being built and happening. Of course, we're all waiting for beta to be launched, and that's still not in sight. I know there's about 15 or so thousand people in the waiting list to still get their invites, and there's probably like 20 or 30 signing up every day. And I say that because on this cool little bot that Pravicos I think installed, you can see that there's about 3,400 people that have registered their names, and for every 5 or 10 registrations, I think there's about for every one registration of their name for one claim, I think there's about 5 to 10 people that sign up without paying for an avatar. And I think that is the case because there's been 3,400 names claimed, as in people have paid for 3,400 names, and there's over 15 or 20,000 people that have registered to sign up. So that's about a 1-to-5 ratio. So I think daily there's been about 15 to 30 people signing up to visit Decentraland, which is pretty cool. Anyway, the land market, we are sitting at almost 13,000 mana floor. Doesn't mean that if you price it under 13,000 mana, it's an insta sell, but it does mean that the order book for this land market is so damn thin. We are seeing, like, on this first page, we're almost up to 15,000 mana, which is insane considering there was 10 pages of land to go through to get to 15,000 mana, say like 4 to 5 months ago. So I think people have slowly coming in and buying up land ever so slowly. People have been buying land between 10 to 20,000 mana because it's not that big of an entry level for small to medium sized investors. So these kind of lands are quicker to go, but slowly we're seeing this floor increase. And some people were saying, Game Jam is giving away, Decentraland are giving away about 100 parcels for the Game Jam. So those people that get their parcels are going to dump on the market. But that definitely hasn't been the case so far, especially considering that all that land is probably clustered around the same area. So it's probably really valuable to keep that land because you're surrounded by developers that are capable of building things. So anyway, that's Decentraland so far over the last week or two. Again, They are moving forward in fixing bugs and things like that, getting the world ready for open beta, which I think is going to really test the platform. But there's probably still a lot more competitions to go. I do know Decentraland own around 1,000 parcels themselves, about 1,000 land parcels themselves, and they've given away about 100, maybe 150 land parcels. So that probably tells me that there's 3 or 4 different events that they're still going to hold, maybe even 10 events, like competitions still to come. They've got a long way to go to start to get a ton of people interested in Decentraland. I think the challenge introducing people to crypto still exists. Getting people to download and understand MetaMask and learn how to buy and sell, make transactions is still there, still an issue. So hopefully as the crypto world starts to develop better UI overall, then onboarding to platforms like Decentraland should be a bit easier. We've seen, I'm going to be going through another video in regards to the builds, but again, we've seen some really cool, some realistic looking builds. Oh, one thing I wanted to show you, and I don't want to forget this for sure, is this really cool. So Planet VR seem to be a small team that are building some really cool stuff in VR in general, but for Decentraland specific, I will say, oh, I guess they are the guys that were behind this. They won 4th prize, I believe. But they're building some really cool, realistic looking builds, and one in particular I wanted to show you guys is, let's go over here. So a lot of people are saying, a lot of people when they think about Decentraland, they're thinking of very low poly, very basic, cartoony shaped stuff, and I understand because that has been the majority of the builds at the moment. A lot of people are aiming for that kind of a look because there is a poly limit in your parcels, meaning that you can't build too complex of a build, or it won't allow you to, because you'll be maxing the I guess the performance of that land. So they've limited that to about 10,000 polys per land, I believe. I might need to double check that. But slowly they're going to increase that limit. So you're going to start seeing more and more complex, cool looking things in Decentraland. And some of the really cool little flowers and stuff that Planet VR have built, and I was really blown away by how awesome these look. But you can see this whole building over here, which is probably as big as the whole parcel, was 1,500 polys, as opposed to this small plant, which is 5,300, which is about 3 times more than this. But you can see the quality of the rendering and just how amazing it looks in terms of the realism is pretty cool. So once Decentraland start to iron out the performance, and I know there's a performance update they're going to roll out soon, and in time they're going to continue to increase the performance of Decentraland. And if and when we get to a level where we can upload things this realistic in VR, it's going to be another world, basically. You can see some of these are so damn nice. I was really blown away for this, and I will definitely buy some of this stuff to check it out on my land. I'm not sure if this is per unit or if this gives you the license to add multiple ones of these units, but it just looks really nice. Anyway, that is it for now. Congrats to the guys that have won any sort of competition. There's more. I didn't see this stuff. There's quite a lot, I guess. So I guess this is the more lower poly stuff, and then the more complex, nicer looking things. So one day we should be able to build some very realistic looking things in Decentraland, and I'm very happy to see Decentraland move forward at this pace. I guess for a lot of people it has been slow in opening their doors for beta, but they have been making progress for sure and working hard at making this world better and better. So anyway, that's it for me for this video. In the next one I will make one hopefully about the Decentraland winners for the competition once they've all been announced, and we'll go through some of the really cool stuff that has been built so far. Anyway, have a nice day, guys.